In today's video, we're gonna be talking about 4 reasons combat athletes shouldn't be doing cardio. Stay tuned. What's going on? Coach Adam back again with another Fight Science Made Simple video. Today we're talking about why it's maybe not a good idea for some combat athletes to do cardio. I know I talk about cardio a lot and it's a big part of what I do as a strength and conditioning coach. I think heart rate based conditioning is the #1 way a combat athlete can develop a relentless gas tank to dominate on the mats or even in the cage. However, there are some cases where doing extra cardio training outside of your skill work might cause more harm than good, and I'm gonna cover them today. So if you're excited, if you're interested, if you're curious, make sure you hit the like button, and if you're feeling generous, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out and it allows me to reach more combat athletes like you that are looking to take their game to the next level. So let's jump right into it. Reason #1, a combat athlete may want to avoid doing extra cardio outside of their skill training is because they have a more detrimental weakness to their game. Look, the reality is, especially in combat sports like MMA, there is a lot of training that goes into developing a combat athlete. And we only have so much time to invest into training throughout our days. So sometimes I have combat athletes that just have crazy schedules between work and skill training and other commitments. And so their time to invest into strength and conditioning training outside of skill work is limited. Now, if this sounds like you, it's impossible to try to squeeze everything into your training schedule. It's going to lead to burnout, it's going to lead to injury, and it might make your performance worse. So in this instance, it's more appropriate to invest your energy into improving your weakest link. So for a lot of athletes, their cardio isn't their weakest link. Maybe they're slow, maybe they're not powerful, maybe they lack strength, maybe they just need to invest more time in skill work and develop their technical proficiency. But it's really important that you and your strength and conditioning coach first puts you through some athletic testing, strength testing, cardio testing, mobility, flexibility, balance testing, so you can really determine where your biggest strengths and weaknesses are. You can invest the most energy in your non-skill training work into turning your weaknesses into strengths, and this is going to help you dominate on the mats or in the cage. If you want to know where you can get started on some exercise testing, I put together my top 3 conditioning tests for combat athletes. You can check those out in the description down below. Reason #2, a combat athlete may want to avoid cardio training outside of their skill work is because they work a very physical, very laborious job. Maybe you're doing construction, maybe you're a coach yourself, but the reality is stress on the body, and doing things like construction work or coaching where you're lifting heavy things or you're moving all day, your heart rate's going to be elevated and you're building an aerobic base through the work that you're doing. So doing extra cardio on top of that may be a little bit redundant and not the best use of your energy or your resources. A third reason a combat athlete may want to avoid doing extra cardio work outside of their skill training is because their cardio is already built enough. Yes, cardio is king, but there comes a time where just building cardio for the sake of building cardio is not going to positively impact your fight game. You're not a marathon runner, you're not doing ultra endurance competitions. Aerobic work, endurance work, cardio is very important for combat sports. They're largely aerobic sports, but if we already have a strong base in our cardio, if our resting heart rate is in the low 50s or lower, if our heart rate recovery is 50 to 60 beats per minute, if you have an HRV of like 90 to 100 milliseconds or more, you probably have a pretty solid aerobic base. Your cardio is probably good enough, and you can invest your time and your energy building something that's going to move the needle on your career and allow you to really dominate on the mats or in the cage. And the fourth reason a combat athlete should avoid doing extra cardio outside of their skill work is because it's either fight or competition week. Look, if you're doing cardio in fight or competition week, stop it. You're not going to get in shape in fight week. If you're not in shape during fight week, it's not going to change the week of the fight. You probably should have done a better job preparing in the off camp or the pre-camp. On the other side of that, a lot of combat athletes out there will do cardio to cut weight. I do not advise this, and I don't practice this with any of our combat athletes. We have a very structured weight cut plan weeks in advance before the fight, so we're not panicking, we're not doing extra exercise or extra cardio in order to make weight. The reason is because we're already putting our body in a calorie restricted state, a water restricted state, a sodium restricted state, a fiber restricted state. We're restricting a lot from our body. And by doing exercise, we're putting extra stress on our body that may cause injury, that may affect our performance on fight night, that is going to make it more difficult to recover. It's not about just making weight, it's about making weight with as little stress as possible. And if you're doing cardio in order to make weight, you're putting too much stress on your body. Stop it. There's better ways to do it. So there you go. Those are my 4 reasons why combat athletes should avoid doing cardio outside of skill work. Obviously, for most combat athletes, I believe in doing extra cardio work, and I believe in doing it with heart rate data. These are just some situations where if you fit this criteria, you may want to avoid doing extra cardio. But I would love to hear from you down in the comments. Do you believe combat athletes should be doing extra cardio? Do you think they should just be relying on their skill training for their conditioning and their cardio work? I know that there's a big debate in the community. I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments below. But until next time, peace.